You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you for joining me today on our Total Wellness Tuesday show. Really excited to be here as always with you. Love the topic for today's show. Really want to go over this. And again, all of these things come from actually being in clinical practice. It's amazing. And that's why really I'm trying to help so many people, so many health practitioners right now to get themselves started in clinical practice. If you know someone right now who's a health practitioner, maybe it's a colleague of yours, you're a health practitioner yourself, or maybe someone in your family who's looking to get into this field, try to just share the Cabral concept with them. My goal is to help everyone, yes, the entire world. But also, I know that I'm able to do that by helping a lot of other health practitioners move forward in their practice. And every day, whether it's in our support group or whether it's just people emailing in or whether it's on Instagram, I love being able to connect. I love being able to share what I know and from my own clinical practice, pass that on to other people so that they can better help their own patients or their own wellness clients or their own personal training clients, body transformation clients, whatever it might be. That's what this is all about. It really is. It's just about paying it forward for what I've learned. I was fortunate enough to be able to really just meet some great mentors, be able to study overseas, to be able to get my degree, to be able now just pass on that knowledge to others. And when I have these things come up in clinical practice, I say, you know what? I literally write it down during an appointment. I say, this is going to be a great topic for a podcast. And a lot of people I work with in my private practice, my concierge practice, they listen to the podcast, or maybe that's how they found out about me in the first place. And so what I do is, they know, it's like a little joke. I say, okay, that's going to be great. You're going to hear that in like another month or so on the podcast. And so today's show is the 5 facial signs of food sensitivities. And the reason why I wanted to go through this today is that I saw someone come into my practice, literally rash on the cheek. Well, so I'm giving the whole show away already. So they came in with some real signs of food sensitivities on their face, and they were my first afternoon client of the day. And I see people all day on Wednesdays and a couple other times during the week as well. A lot going on at the Cabral Wellness practice here. So when I saw them, I said, wow, they started to go through their issues. And of course, I wasn't surprised, but they were going through a lot of digestive issues and bloating, gas, a little bit of acid reflux, a little bit of, just basically difficulty digesting almost any food, especially after lunch. And this is what I specialize in. This is something that I can help any single person who walks into my practice with digestive issues. And the reason is that I've seen it all. I really have. I've seen it all. I've been through almost all of it myself, whether it was acid reflux, candida overgrowth, SIBO, IBS. I had all of these things, leaky gut. You name it. They were diagnosed. I had them. I wasn't able to get over them. I kept relapsing until I finally figured it out. And I figured it out. And again, just fortunate, blessed to now have this information and I can pass it on to others. So what I want to do now is, so there's a lot of course, you've been listening maybe for a little while, and you know that the absolute best test that you can run to see if you have a food sensitivity is, of course, the food sensitivity test. And we'll link up everything today. Just go to stephencabral.com/620. I'm not going to keep mentioning all the different labs and podcast page. So just go to stephencabral.com/620. And you can go to stephencabral.com/podcast for any of my previous shows. You can just look them up right there. We try to make it as easy as possible. So here's the thing, though. The best thing you can do is run a food sensitivity test. But what if you can't afford a food sensitivity test? So, we know it's fantastic. We have people running them for the whole family. I want to be able to help everyone. And I don't want you to feel like, well, if you can't afford to run the lab, then I can't help you get results. And so I want to help you get results. So I'm going to give you different overt symptoms today as well, okay? So again, let me just state these. Best things to do. If you're able to do it, the absolute best things to do is, if not guess, just absolutely test. And that's run the food sensitivity test, run the organic acids test. That's going to give you whether you have the leaky gut, the intestinal permeability, the candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, you're low in B vitamins, all those things. It's an amazing test. So I'd run those two. And if you're financially able to, you can run a stool test if you believe you might have parasites, or if you get acid reflux and you believe you might have H. pylori. That test will test for that. But If you don't think you have parasites, if you don't have loose stool, if you don't have acne on your back or forehead, you don't have night sweats, well, that's pretty much it. Those are my big ones. I probably missed one there. And then the acid reflux would kind of be a dead giveaway too for potential H. pylori. That's a stool test. But if you get the bloating, the gas, you get everything else besides that, and you have about the symptoms I'm going to talk about now, organic acids test and food test are highly, highly recommended for both children and adults. Okay, so now let's go into the 5 overt symptoms. So the outward symptoms just on your face, because there are many symptoms from your whole body. We talked about the bloating, those types of things. Let's just talk about the face. So keep in mind, we're talking about an IgE reaction and an IgG reaction as well. So the IgE reaction means these symptoms happen right away. And then an IgG reaction, which is what our food sensitivity test tests for, is actually looking at the foods. Let's say you're listening to this on a Tuesday. It's foods that you potentially ate on Sunday that are causing a reaction on Tuesday. And that's really hard to figure out, again, unless you test or you start to look for some of these signs. So let's go through those signs right now. Okay, so the first overt sign right now is acne. It's absolutely acne. Acne is one of those dead giveaways. Now, yes, it can be hormonal, okay? It can be hormonal. Hormonal acne for a lot of people is on the chin, maybe a little bit on the cheeks, but definitely on the chin, especially for women. That shows potentially a lot of estrogen dominance. But what if you have acne on your forehead and on your cheeks right beside your nose? A lot of times, that can actually be a food sensitivity, especially to dairy, especially to chocolate, and especially to eggs. So again, you could have a reaction to any food and it could cause that. But that's one of the big ones. And it's also a potential sign, like I said earlier, of parasites or just leaky gut intestinal permeability, where actually proteins are spilling into your bloodstream and your immune system is having to react to that and your liver is having to clean that up and so is your kidneys. So that's a big one. I look for that a lot in my practice if anyone comes in with acne, especially adult acne. Okay, what's another one? This is one that a lot of people don't know about, but after a meal, so this would be more of an IgE reaction. This is pretty quick after a meal. What if you start to get swollen lips? Okay, a lot of people, now we're not talking huge swollen lips like you just had this really bad histamine-based reaction, but a minor one, that your lips look a little bit more red. They look a little bit more swollen. And even along this route, I'll go with this, red ears. So a lot of people I see in my practice, their ears are red. And it's not because they're just worked out or they're very hot. That's a different story. I'm talking about they just had a meal and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, all of a sudden their ears are red. And you look at that, you say, oh, okay, there's some type of reaction, potentially mastocytosis-based reaction or histamine-based reaction. There's something going on in your body right now, which is causing this pitta or this heat. And we look at that, we say, well, that's a potential food sensitivity, whether it's lectins or, again, some type of food that you might be allergic to. And when I talk about allergic, I'm not talking about an anaphylactic-based allergy where your throat closes up. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an actual immune or histamine or some type of reaction, cytokine-based reaction in your body where your body is creating some type of inflammation. And again, it's this inflammation that over time just wears down the body. So that was number 2. Number 3 would be an itchy neck or itchy ears. Okay, the itchy neck I see in my practice a lot. Now it's funny because I'm old school. I love saying that I'm old school since I'm not even 40 yet, but I'm old school. So almost 40, but not 40 yet. So old school is I love taking patient notes. I love writing it down, not a computer, but pen and paper. Okay, so pen and paper, I'm writing out my notes. And what that allows me to do is really listen attentively to the person. And this kind of magic that happens between like your hand, your mind saying it and seeing it written on paper. It's a little different than doing it on a computer. So at least for right now, that's what I'm continuing with. It's not as easy because not everything is digital, but I love having these folders. And it's funny because when I check back in with people, when they do a follow-up, I go through the list. I'm like, okay, you still have this? They're like, oh, no, I don't. I still have this? Oh, no, I don't. It's funny. And they start to laugh. They're like, I guess I did have that. No, I don't have that anymore. And they're always shocked. And of course, this is a great thing. This is why anyone would go to a naturopathic doctor and not just go to their MD or PCP who, typically takes health insurance. That's the whole thing. It's not easy. I understand that. And so we want people to get results. But a lot of people, they come in with this itchy neck. They get that, like those red lines when they scratch on their neck. Again, another potential food sensitivity or could be an environmental allergen, but a lot of times it's just these foods that we're eating, even if it's something like a citrus fruit. Again, it could be like pineapple or it could be oranges. It could be a healthy food that you're sensitive to. So it's very, very interesting. And then I also say itchy ears. Why itchy ears? Because this isn't always a direct food sensitivity, but it's when you eat certain foods, again, even healthy foods can feed yeast. And then your ears can itch. A lot of people have fungal overgrowth. They get itchy ears or even an itchy anus. A lot of people don't like to share that or talk about that with their doctor, but that is a dead giveaway that you have yeast overgrowth or fungal overgrowth or potentially a parasite if you do have an itchy anus. So really important to look at that. And again, I've gotten that on a couple of house calls from people asking it anonymously, and it's a real thing. And again, that is yeast overgrowth. That is most likely fungal overgrowth. And that can come from obviously eating foods that feed yeast. And of course, we have a candida and bacterial overgrowth that completely wipes that out. But if you want the data first, I know a lot of guys especially, they like to see that data. The data is there for you by taking an organic acids test. All right, that was number 4. We're moving right along. That was number 4. Well, we'll say I have 2 more for you. So whether it's 5 or 6, we'll see. Again, it's not easy to talk and do math apparently on a podcast. Is the red, watery eyes and even a watery nose, meaning like you eat certain foods, not just the hot foods that make you sweat a little bit. I'm talking you eat foods, then all of a sudden your eyes get a little itchy. Maybe 10 minutes later, maybe 20 minutes later, maybe 30 minutes later, or maybe your nose starts to run. Another dead giveaway that you're eating a food that you're sensitive to, or it could just be a component of that food. Sometimes it's certain herbs, sometimes it's honey because the pollen and things like that it carries with it. Again, not saying these are bad. I'm just saying you might be sensitive to them right now until you fully repair your gut. Or it could be lectins. It could be healthy things, maybe like lentils that you ate. It could be any one of those things that's now causing an actual immune-based reaction. And part of that, so we'll count this as 5 going along with it, is the mucus that you can build up in your mouth as well. So another sign of a food sensitivity is actually having to clear your throat after a meal. You've got this mucus back there that you almost feel like you have to kind of spit it out. Really dead giveaway sign that you are sensitive to one of those foods. Yes, a lot of times it is dairy. That is absolutely correct. But sometimes it's random things. It's like banana, or it could be eggs, or what have I seen before in my practice, or I have seen the citrus fruit be a reaction for that mucus as well. That mucus is actually a first line defense. A lot of people don't know that. They think this mucus is a bad thing. Oh, I've got to get rid of this mucus. I have to get rid of this mucus. Yes, you do. But really what you have to get rid of is the thing that's causing the mucus. You don't have to get rid of the mucus itself by taking some type of pill like Mucinex or whatever it might be. You need to actually get rid of the thing that's causing the mucus, because the mucus is simply allowing your body to coat the surface that can become inflamed and to bring more secretory IgA and other immune cells to the pathogen, to the antigen, to the invader that you just put into your body. So again, I try to explain this always from a conventional medicine, yes, what we're used to hearing, but also from the Ayurvedic perspective, where the only reason you get sick in the first place, the only reason you would get watery eyes or mucus in the mouth or any of these things is that your body's not messing up. It's actually having an immune-based reaction to this food, which is foreign to your body, and your body is marked as an antigen, or it's marked as something that's bad for your body, and it needs to deal with it. It needs to attack it, to get rid of it, to remove it out of your body. It's not messing up. What's happened is your body is reacting to a food that it believes it's bad for it. Now, you could, again, repair the gut. You could get rid of the yeast. You could get rid of the bacterial overgrowth. You could repair the probiotic, the good flora with additional probiotics, things like that, at least if you've already removed the bacteria and yeast in the first place. All of these things are great things that, yes, you should be doing. But first, you even have to recognize that you have a food sensitivity, because most people are like, well, I'm never bloated, I don't get gas, I don't have diarrhea, or I don't have acid reflux, so I must not have any food sensitivities. That's not true. If you have the acne, if you have the swollen lips, the red ears, if you have the itchy neck, the itchy ears, the itchy anything, itchy legs, that's another one too. Just itchiness after a meal, that can be one. Or what if you have watery eyes, right? Or your nose starts to run? What if you get a lot of buildup of mucus in your mouth or your throat after a meal? These are all real signs you have a food sensitivity, and you don't have to wait for the bloating. You don't have to wait for the real digestive issues to happen to know that your body is reacting in a positive way, believe it or not. You feel it as negative, but your body's actually reacting in a way to protect you. It's not messing up. It's trying to protect you by having this allergic-based reaction to an allergy. That's why it's having the allergic reaction. So, of course, what do we have to do first? We need to eliminate the offending foods. And again, you can run the lab test, the organic acids test, the food sensitivity test, the stool test if you want. Or you can start to keep a food journal, and you can write down, I always say, keep a note in your phone that just says my health or my nutrition. And every time you have a meal that causes bloating or causes one of these 5 facial signs, what I want you to do is say, what did I eat in that preceding meal? Because that could be a big one. That's an IgE reaction. And then if it continues to happen, you say, okay, what have I been eating over the past 2 to 3 days? That's the IgG reaction. That's what we test for in the food sensitivity test. That's what I want you to look for. You will be able to find it. It just takes a little bit more work. But again, if you don't want to run the lab test, you don't have to give up hope. There's always an answer, and you could figure this out. And we're going to help you figure it out, because we're not going to stop teaching you all of these different insider tricks that you can use for yourself, for your family as well. Because again, you can observe this in children all the time. I see these kids and I'm walking by in a restaurant, I'm walking by, my kids are at a party, whatever it is, and I see they have that like leaky left eye, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, that kid's got food sensitivities. There's no doubt about it. Or he has some type of gut issue. Your eyes shouldn't just sit there and leak. They shouldn't just run. And I can only say this, I know this from experience. I mean, really, I honestly do. From environmental allergies as well as internal food-based allergies. And it took a little while for me to clear them up, but I did. And my life is completely different now. So I can tell you, you can do it. No matter how bad you have it, it can be cleared up. Trust me on that one. And the other thing is too, is just start to share these things with other people. Family is typically not receptive, so just keep it that way. But try to share them at least some friends and coworkers. And if you have a health practitioner, start to share it with your patients, your clients, anyone that you work with. I really believe if we continue to pass on this information, we're going to be able to make a real difference where everyone starts to take back control of their health. If we do that, we take responsibility for our own body, which means we're responsible for our own life. And that means then we can create the life that we want. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral Concept. Really appreciate your listens today. Feel free to pass this show along to anyone you believe it could help. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.